So welcome to the Vermont Castings Intrepid FlexBurn. The reason they call it FlexBurn is you can burn it with a catalytic or without. And it's got a handy bypass over here, which increases the efficiency in the presence of or lack of a catalytic combustor. It doesn't matter. We'll go through this a little bit at a time. Just a little bit about the stove first. This thing beat the EPA requirement of 2 grams per hour maximum output by 70%. So there must be something going on in this stove that's very special to beat the federal requirement by 70%. It's sold without a catalytic combustor. It takes a 14-inch log. Let's go ahead and take a little bit of a look inside. The handle on all Vermont castings always mounts over here on this right side in a little handle. It's cold right now, so we can open it up. But this will hold a 14-inch log. It has removable andirons, which is a bit of history. There's a bit of a practical importance to those. It keeps the log from touching the glass. The inside component, this is where the catalytic combustor would live. If we had one in there, it just simply goes in, drops down, and you can see that that is a void in there. It's a cavity ready to receive it, but we're gonna hit the EPA standards without it. We just tickle this little guy up in there and drop it back down. All right, so 14-inch log, it has a top load feature. Now, until I had one of these in my house, I didn't realize how happy and effective of a burning life you can have with this. But you'll need to have the bypass door open. So let's come on in and take a look. This is the door closing and latching, and this is the door opening right there. And all the smoke and exhaust is gonna go up through there. And let's go ahead and zoom back a little bit. Come on back and look at the whole stove. Again, to shut it down and to do the top loading feature, you put the handle in on an angle. It does not clip. That's not a defect. They don't clip in. It's a removable handle. You have to like push and then turn down, and it's a roller ball bearing that latches. And if you come around this way, I can show you, this is the bypass handle right here. This is what turns about a quarter turn, and then it latches up hard. And it feels like you're gonna break it. Don't worry, that's how it is from the factory. It makes a large metallic sound. Last thing is down here, let's look at the ash compartment. This thing twists a little bit to the left to open, and the door drops down. It's how they're designed. It's not a defect, that's just kind of how they're designed. This ashtray is very helpful because on the inside, you may have noticed there was a slotted floor. All your ashes can fall down into this while it's burning. So you can literally empty out your ashes during a live fire. You simply scoop up your ashtray. I missed it, let's try again. There we go. And as you can tell, I've scooped it up. My hand is not touching the hot object full of ashes. Take it outside, put it in a steel ash bucket. Again, you come back inside, latch it down, and then remove the removable cover, set it aside, and close this up. And then it's kind of a stiff mechanism to the swinging down. It's a counterclockwise motion, and you kind of lift a little to get the ash drawer to connect. All right, let's go outside, look at the chimney before we light a fire, talk about chimneys just a little bit, and then we'll get back to the appliance and the first fire. On the outside of this beautiful custom home here above Golden, Colorado, we have a 20-foot overall chimney stack height. This needs to develop at least 0.03 to 0.065 inches on the water column. That's negative pressure of draft, and we'll get that with an 18-foot system at this elevation. We're at about 9,500 feet right now. So looking at the overall system, this is a good, healthy installation. We've got a roof brace 3/4 of the way up the pipe for those high winds coming off the Never Summer Mountains of the Rockies behind me. And then you've got your storm collar, your roof flashing, all secured by the roofer down into our double wall connector. I want to show you one more thing on the outside. Let's take a look over here. All right, so on the outside, we have the fresh air kit here. And if you come in just a little bit, you can see it looks a lot like a dryer vent hood with 1/4-inch mesh over it, because it is. This is no flapper allowed on the intakes, but this needs to be 12 inches up above the ground. So this is actually not compliant. It's a great video because you can see what non-compliance looks like. This needs to be dug out 12 inches or the inspector will not pass this. So he's going to want to see a 12-inch because we've got possible snow coming in. So we're only 5 here. So we'll let the builder know that he needs to go ahead and dig this out, trench it out to comply with the minimum code clearance for the fresh air kit. We do recommend that all solid fuel appliances have a fresh air kit. It's becoming more and more of a requirement as our homes become more and more airtight. We have to ask ourselves, where is that air allowed to infiltrate from through the building envelope to our solid fuel natural drafting appliance? Remember, these wood stoves don't have fans. There's no exhaust fan on these. So they will lose the battle of home air if we don't think ahead and meet the manufacturer's and local jurisdiction requirement to provide that 3 or 4 inch diameter fresh air kit. All right, so the last thing we really need to make sure of is that the installation was done according to code. And the code is just going to reference the installation manual. So right here, there should be a used and worn one of these on the job site with clearances marked. So over here, we're doing the top flue double wall exit. So we need a 6-inch clearance to this area right over here, at least 6 inches. We can always exceed it. There we go. We've got 7. We should be fine for inspection. While we're looking back here, can you bring the camera back and just show right down here? Here's our fresh air kit installed. It's a heavy wall aluminum tube, semi-rigid aluminum. Great, so welcome to the favorite part of the video, which is lighting the first fire. This manufacturer, Vermont Castings, has an east-west orientation to the Intrepid model of stove. So east-west is a rather new communication technique, and north-south to define for people how the wood goes into the appliance. North-south would mean in and out. East-west means left and right, okay? That's all that means, nothing fancy. So I'll show you my favorite technique to build a fire in this wood stove. It's good to take a little bit of kindling. Here I've got some very old dried out pine cones, something in there, just a little bit of roughage so that I can put my paper in there. Now, a little joke, because I like a little humor now and then, the installation manual is not your complimentary first fire product. That's not what that is. You're actually supposed to read it. Sometimes you may have to go back to the shop to get a part, to get your install to be correct. And that is indeed the right thing to do. Tore up some cardboard from one of the connector pipe boxes. You can be a green person and recycle your products. I'm layering it, a little bit of wood, a little bit of paper. I think I'll light this one on fire, maybe this one. And that will be my giant match that I use. The first time that we light a fire in here, and it's a cold stove, what we want to do is, it's nice to work through the front door, but you may find after weeks and weeks of usage and loading from the top that there's quite an ash bank along the front, and if you open the front doors, ashes come out, and that's annoying. I get it. So you may figure out how to build fires from the top. And just to demonstrate that, because this video is supposed to be there for your benefit, let me just go ahead and lock the front door. Again, this mounts right on the right-hand side. Open this, and I can just set my wood in. If you look closely, you can see my wood going in. And it's landing behind the andirons. If you have a cold day, you may need to put a fire starter up the flue to get the heat to go up the flue. Now, I don't want to burn my hand, so I'm going to close this door. I'm going to make sure my bypass is in the open position, and then I'm going to open this and light my first fire from down here, because I don't have a really long match today. I just have my little handy-dandy lighter. So I find a nice edge that will catch on fire, and then I tilt it down and light it. And this is going to sort of test the draft right now as well. I know it's kind of bright in here, but we'll see if this fire takes. I'm cupping my hand just to keep the, yeah, there we go. So now I'm seeing, if you leave it right at the front door and the flame and smoke tilts to the inside, you know you have positive draft. If it comes to the outside, you know you don't have positive draft. So I need to get this little guy down in there to try and ignite my, my fire starter underneath the fuel load. So we're just going to wait for that. There's your smoke test going on right now. There was a little bit of an outdoor rain last night, so maybe this wood has a little bit of moisture in it. I love that sound as these things get going. They can kind of roar. Now, one thing the manufacturer will tell you very clearly in the manual, and I agree with them, is you should not open the ash drawer. You should not open the ash drawer until the fire is started. So if you open the ash drawer, you're going to see that the ash is going to when the fire's going, because that really fans the flames in there, and it will void the warranty if it rots out the inside of massive heat. Basically, think of it like overfiring or overheating, and that will void the warranty on your cast iron stove. And I'll demonstrate for you briefly what that might look like. So I just kind of cracked the door, that's it. But as you can tell, that's not a visual differentiator. You can't tell if that door's locked or not right now, but it's putting a lot of air right under the fuel load. It's like having a Boy Scout blow on the bottom of the fire. You didn't hear it from me, but if you do that for a couple of minutes and you promise to stay right here and close that after 30 seconds to a minute, that is a great way to provide a tremendous amount of air right at the fuel load where you want it. Again, my bypass is in the open position, and then we'll look at the air shutter over here. It's a swing left to give it more air, swing right to give it less air. Yeah, come on up and take a look. There's a little plus sign and minus sign right here. So this is more air to the left, this is less air to the right. Every now and then, the chain that hangs off of this will get caught on something, and so you may have to take the side off with 2 or 3 Phillips head screws, access it, and provide yourself a little bit of service on this handle. But let's leave that to the left. Again, ash door's open, we're fanning the flames. You can see that thing really start to take off. You don't want to leave it this way. It'll void the warranty, warp your stove. But sometimes when you're right on the edge of a fire going, oh man, it's really nice. And this is true on all 3, or all 4. The Intrepid, Vermont Castings Intrepid, the Vermont Castings Defiant, the Vermont Castings Encore, and I forget the other one, but they all have the same sort of accessible feature right here. You can hear that throaty, hollow sound coming up through there as it burns. Okay, we're going to go ahead and shut the ash drawer. We're going to let it find its own air supply. Oh, there, it's sucking down. It is burning. It's finding its new burn pattern down low. And then we'll check back in about 10 minutes after this gets going. All right, my friends, it's time to come in and we're going to do the final load on this Vermont Castings Intrepid FlexBurn. We're about 10 minutes in on our wait time here. Swing the camera around. Let's look at that beautiful flame. And we're just starting to take. Off camera, I did load 3 small thumb diameter pieces of wood just to give it a little bit of help, but I left all the settings as they were before the cut. All right, we're going to go ahead and open up the door, and I'll show you the mystery of one of these types of stoves that are top loading, and you barely get a wisp of smoke in the house. Here we go, ready? Look at that, it's sucking the flames right up the flue. Can you see that with the camera? Mm-hmm. The flame is just shooting right up, okay? Open up a little more, drop your wood in, try and keep it off the glass, and then you put the door down. There's a nice stainless steel braided rope gasket in there, and then after about 45 minutes to an hour, we're gonna engage the bypass, that big handle. That'll force the exhaust to go through a serpentine mechanism in the back, and this thing starts to become tremendously effective and tremendously efficient in its burn. Welcome. This is a 36,000 BTU heating appliance. It is a home heating device. Respect the clearance to combustibles. Enjoy it all winter long. This is Byron on the Rooftop. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.